been writing it for years. I've been writing it for about 7 years about Harry Potter, who is the central character. And that idea came to me on a train. I don't know what made it come, but it did. I had the idea for this school for wizards, to which this little boy would go, who doesn't realise he's a wizard until he gets the letter saying that his name's been down since birth. So that's basically it. Yeah.
Why a children's book? Was it,
I don't. No, not really. I'd been writing for years and intending to write for adults, but never tried to get anything published before. But when this story came to me, obviously it was a children's story, so it chose me rather than the other way around. I never sat down and thought, I'm going to try and write for children now.
What success have you achieved with this so far?
It sold very well, which is wildly overshot my expectations, I have to say. It sold about 30,000 copies in the UK, which is phenomenal. To me, it's phenomenal. To me, more than anyone else, probably. And it won the Smartest Book Prize recently, which was fantastic. Mainly because that's a prize that's it's chosen by you're shortlisted by adults, but children vote the gold, silver, and bronze medals. So it's children who have a say on that.
Children are also then voting, with their feet or whatever.
Yeah.
Why do you think they like it so much? I mean, I'm not asking you to be entirely, immodest or anything, but what is it that appeals? Because there are so many children's books in the market.
I think it's, in some ways, it's a very traditional story. You have several classic elements, as in a small child who's got powers that no other child has. I think that's a very common fantasy for children. And the idea that you escape, he comes from a very horrible background and he escapes, and I think that again is a perennial fantasy, just being able to escape and to go to a place where there isn't that much adult control. The school he goes to is seriously haunted and quite a dangerous place, but it's also fun, a lot of fun.
Do you think that that there will be many more Harry Potters?
I know there will be.
Yes, so tell me about that.
I always planned it as a series of 7 books, which would see Harry into being a fully trained wizard at 17. So I've written 2 so far. The second one has been sold, and I'm writing book 3 at the moment. I have one. I'm a quarter Scottish by blood, on my mother's side, and my parents met and married in Scotland and then settled in the Forest of Dean in England, and for some odd reason both my sister and I have gravitated back to Scotland. I have to say too that I always imagined Harry starts off in London, or near London in Surrey, but he ends up in Scotland. The haunted school, the school for wizards, I always imagined to be next to a loch, this big Gothic thing that is set in all the mountains of Scotland. So that's never made clear in the book. That's just left open. But in my imagination, it's in Scotland.
In further books, do you think that we'll see Harry in Scotland?
I think it is likely that it'll be slightly more identifiable. It's identifiable anyway if you know your geography. He travels due north from London for a day, so where's he going to end up?
Okay. Tell me about the success then overseas that you're having. I mean,
yeah, that was absolutely incredible. First time I ever met my literary agent, he said to me, now remember, you're not going to make much money. There is not much money in children's books, which I completely accepted. He was being realistic to me, obviously. So I said yes, I was aware of that, and my ambition was to see it as a real book. And then he's now sold it to 8 countries. It's just very ironic that he was the one who warned me, don't get your expectations up. And he, of course, Christopher, is the one who's sold it to all these different countries.
But what about the Hollywood thing? Tell me about that.
Well, there is absolutely nothing signed on that, but there has been interest shown by some companies in Hollywood. Yeah, but this is very early days, So the interest is there, which is amazing, but nothing's been signed. So.
I mean, okay, nothing's been signed as yet, but I mean, does it interest you, Phil? Do you think that he would be successful going into film?
I think it would if it were done right. I think it could make a great film. Yeah, but. And okay, if it was done right, yes, that would be wild. That would be wonderful to see it as a film. But I wanted to write books. Do you know what I mean? So my absolute ambition was not Hollywood. My absolute ambition was to sell loads of books.
People have been looking at, I've been asking about success and whether they've ever been chasing success or something that happened to them and how they feel about it. I mean, what about you? You always wanted to be successful through writing?
I've always wanted to be a writer. And obviously, you want to be a writer. You dream of supporting yourself through writing, definitely. But it is a bit of both, because I was very much aware that children's books, you do not. The possibility of supporting yourself solely by writing children's books is slim. That's the reality of it, and I was fully aware of that. So in that sense, this has all come as a huge, enormous shock. I'm delighted, because I always wanted to write and always have written, but my realistic side had not allowed me to dream of half of what's happened to me, truthfully.
How does success make you feel?
At first, particularly after the American deal, which was the big one, the unprecedented, this thing for a first-time children's book, it scared the hell out of me, truthfully. It really scared me. I was halfway through the second book and I became blocked and panic-stricken that, I became very self-conscious about what I was writing. But I did get over that, but it took about a month to relax again and sort of force myself to believe I was just writing for me again. And I did, and I'm now very happy with book 2. But it shocked me. Now I'm more relaxed about it. Now I've sort of believed that it's happened. I'm over the moon. I really am.
Can you just tell me about the American deal? Because that's different from the Hollywood thing. The American deal is one of the 8 countries then has what?
That's right.
Can you tell me then about which countries they are and why perhaps America? Because I don't know why it's so unusual that America has accepted the first.
Well, it wasn't so. It was the amount of money they bought it for. And it was the fact that it's a very big company, Scholastic. And I had expected, obviously a far smaller advance, judging by what is realistic. In fact, there was no guarantee it would ever be taken by American at all. You're absolutely right. Why would it? No guarantee at all. So, and it will be translated in France, Germany, Greece, Holland, Italy, and Finland. So that's 8 overall with the UK.
And do you think that he will be successful translation as he is in English?
I've no idea. But I love the idea of saying I'm big in Finland, so I'd quite like that. I'd quite like that one. I'm convinced I will be writing until I can't, for whatever reason, anymore. So hopefully after Harry, I'll still be publishing. That's what I want. Yeah.
And I know that was a final question, but not. Just one last thing then. If children are perhaps watching this and they want to know what Harry's book and Harry Philosopher's Stone's about, I mean, is there a way you can sum up what kind of child that he is, or the sort of ethos of the book or whatever? Can you?
It's hard to describe. It's quite a complicated plot, but it's
the whole just him and his ethos. I'm sure there must be something running through it that has made people, that makes people buy it.
I think it's funny. I've been told by kids in their letters and so on that they find it funny. It's also frightening, and I wanted it to be both. And judging by letters and judging by the reaction of children that I've met, I'd say that I succeeded in that. So that's all I wanted.